You let me violate you.
Hello everyone, it's Nailing Flicks again. We've got big versus little this week and it's Avatar versus Dogfight. But first, Avatar.
They got big.
Yeah, they fully mature on the flight out. So the proprioceptive sims seem to work really well.
Yeah, they've got great muscle tone. It'll take us a few hours to get them decanted, but you guys can take them out tomorrow. There's yours.
Hey, Dr. Norm's son.
Nice to tell. Thanks to meet you.
Looks like him.
And so it is that Avatar came to our screens from James Cameron in 2009 after a 12-year fiction film layoff. The story tells of Jake Sully, who comes to the world of Pandora. He is there as part of the military, and the military recruits him to get close to the native people of the world of Pandora, the Na'vi tribe, who are sitting on a gold mine of a mineral by the name of unobtainium. Through a series of circumstances, he first meets Neytiri, played by Zoe Saldana, and he becomes a part of the tribe and slowly becomes a part of the tribe. They welcome him and suddenly he has different thoughts about his mission on the planet. With the time and the technology that took place to make Avatar, we were expecting great things. I must admit, as a 3D experience, it was fully immersive. Although the story I found a little lacking, like many others, perhaps another retelling of the Dances with Wolves or Pocahontas story. However, it is entertaining. It is a visual feast. It's long, but it's worth it. Ellie?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you didn't like Pocahontas or Dances with Wolves, you don't like that kind of story, you're not going to like the story of the film.
Yeah.
I thoroughly agree with you. I think it was, visually I only saw it in 2D, and even then everyone said how amazing it is in 3D, but even in 2D I just thought it was visually stunning. And I really enjoyed it. Like, it took me on this amazing journey, and all the sort of the organisms on the planet and the animals and that sort of the creativity that went into sort of formulating that world, I thought was beautiful, and I was always intrigued where it was going to go, what was going to happen in terms of the invention of that world. I mean, you knew halfway, well, not even halfway through, where it was going to go.
Pretty much.
What was going to happen. I mean, some of the characters in the film, I heard along the grapevine that James Cameron had entertained the notion of casting Michael Biehn as the, that kind of archetypal...
One of his favourites.
Yeah, that archetypal colonel in the film, who was very kind of, bring it in, boys. And,
Stephen Wayne,
yeah.
And eventually in the film, yeah.
He was
a caricature.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He was comic for me. Like, every time he kind of spoke or did something, I laughed out loud. People were kind of like, shh, I did think he was hilarious, but it was fun. Like, it was very, he didn't cast Michael Biehn to end that story, because he then thought it would be too similar to Aliens, because he'd already cast Sigourney Weaver. I mean,
I see.
Or people would make that connection. I don't know. It's such an iconic film, Aliens, and I still made that connection with those huge kind of, mechanized walking sort of things that they sat in. What are they called?
Oh,
it's
yes.
terrible. I don't even have the technical term for those.
No. There are a couple of inconsistencies in the story here and there that you can sort of just basically, give James Cameron that. And just say, yeah, that's okay.
Absolutely.
Because it is entertaining. I mean, Sam Worthington isn't the most charismatic screen presence there ever has been.
Well, they talked about casting initially. They were talking about either casting Matt Damon or Jake Gyllenhaal in that role, and I don't know. Maybe now because we already have the end product, I couldn't see those actors, who were fine actors, doing that role justice. I quite liked Sam Worthington in that role. There were certain times, though, I don't know, as an Australian, like I heard I heard these twangs of an Australian accent, which is just being uber picky. But, you know, like it kind of took me out of it. I went, oh, he's Australian. No, he's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
okay.
that's just nitpicking, really.
Yeah, you could really nitpick this film to death.
You
though.
could, and I don't think you need to. I mean, it's James Cameron. We know what we're going to get. It's the same as when you watch a Michael Bay film. You know what you're going to get. I love Michael Bay films. I go along, you know, ready for a massive car pile-up, and
You get it pretty much.
you get it. And
Yeah.
I got that with this film, and I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I mean, you know, standard plot aside.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, kudos to James for the technology and the 3D experience. I mean, it really comes alive when you see it in a 3D environment.
And I've got to do it. I really do. I mean, that CGI technology. I mean, it took something like 47 man hours for them to create a 24th of a second.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Given what was going on in that world and everything. I mean, the attention to detail was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. And that kind of, I actually quite like the whole concept. It was very kind of zen, that whole concept of everything on the world, the organisms being interconnected, or, you know, the plant life and the flora and fauna and everything interconnected like that. You know, it was interesting. And
Yeah. It's funny, we've talked about this before, and you made the connection between Dancing with the Wolves and Avatar with Wes Studi.
oh, Wes Studi, that's
Wes Studi
right.
being in the cast as well.
We had spoken about that. Thank you. I just didn't think that was any kind of film of that nature. You're always going to get a Wes Studi voice in it somewhere.
Or a Graham Greene or something like that. But no, you're absolutely right. Kudos to Zoe Saldana. I think she was the best performance in the film.
Her emotion in the film. I mean, you know, the stakes in the film for me. I talk a lot about stakes in the film because that's really, I mean, for me, that's a really big thing. Like, it guides me through a film, and I really care about the characters via how they portray those stakes, or, you know, how they kind of react to the stakes.
Well said.
She was just, you know, when certain things happened, her sorrow and horror was so guttural and so real. I genuinely felt it. Like, I felt really, really upset for her in the film, and it, you know, it brought me into it to a greater degree, and sort of felt more for it.
Well, then I suppose we better score this one.
I know, there's so much you can say about it, you know, but there's
is.
just so little time.
There is. Well, I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
I'm going to give it an 8.